Hey y'all, Haley here with the K9 Pack in Hillsboro, North Carolina. I want to talk to you today about how to choose and properly fit your prong collar. The two brands of prong collars that I use are the Herm Sprenger prong collars that come in a 2.25 and a 3mm, and that is based on their width. They also come in different lengths, and you can add and take away lengths in order to get the proper fit. And because the smallest that the Herm Sprenger sells is the 2.25, I also use the Kimberland micro prong collars, which are 1.75mm. Now, the 2.25 collars are good for anywhere from like a 15-pound dog to usually a 50-pound dog. It just depends on their neck size and their breed. I've never needed anything bigger than a 3mm collar though. Anything bigger, you can just get extra links for these guys. Now, with the micro prongs, these are good for Chihuahuas, maybe Dachshunds, just any dog with a really tiny neck. Even Boston Terriers and things like that with the chunky necks usually have to use a 2.25. So it just depends on what you need for your dog. Every website that sells prong collars sells different lengths of collar. Like sometimes they'll sell a 14-inch 2.25, sometimes they'll sell a 16-inch 2.25. So make sure to measure your dog's neck and order extra links if you need to. Now, if you have any type of arthritis or weakness in your fingers, sometimes these guys can be hard to pop apart, especially the 3mm and even the micro prong where it's so tiny. So there are several options for making that task a little easier. Now, I've recently discovered Katie's buckles, and these guys are awesome. You can get them to fit on the 2.25 prong or on the 3mm prong, and it replaces this trachea plate. So you take this guy out and put Katie's buckle in, and instead of having to do this every time, all I have to do is unclip that buckle. Now that is awesome for the 3.0mm prong collars. There is also an alligator clip attachment. Now, after finding Katie's buckles, I doubt I'll ever use these again, but it can get you around taking the prongs apart every time, because all you have to do is unclip right here. But then, you know, sometimes it'll come out here, and if your dog's head can't fit through there, like, you have to thread it back in and get the prong collar in the right configuration to use the alligator clip. So, huge fan of Katie's buckles. I found this to be an awesome product. I've only been using them for a little while, but thumbs up all the way around. Now, just because the design of prong collars, they can come apart. So especially if, you know, you're putting this guy together and you get one prong up here and only one prong in the hole, and you didn't notice, and it's not actually together, they can pop apart. They can pop apart if you put them on right. So if your dog doesn't have a good recall, if your dog struggles with reactivity, if you're just getting started, I always recommend a backup. And so what this does is it attaches the prong collar to your regular collar just in case. So when we attach the leash to the prong collar, we always want to attach it to the swivel ring, and that just keeps it from getting tangled, and it's an easy way to remember which is which. And then there's the O-ring that keeps the martingale function from going all the way around. And so we attach the carabiner to the O-ring, and then we also attach it to the dog's regular collar. And in case this pops apart, you're still attached to your dog. Okay, so when it comes to putting your prong collar on your dog, sit down. Tater's excited. you want to make sure you get a proper placement and fit. So I'm just gonna pop this guy on here. And it is really big. It's super loose. And so the reason we don't want this guy loose is because when we try to use the martingale function, it loses all its effectiveness. So we really want the collar tight and we want it high. So all you have to do, if your collar is too big or too small, is add or remove links. And it's really easy to do. So you see how much, I know, Tater just wants cuddles. So you see how much room is still under here? This guy is still way too loose. So I'm gonna take out another link. And there you can see we have a much better fit. We're going to get full range of motion with our martingale. And it's high up right behind his ears. And so that's important. Hey baby. That's important because if you control where a dog's head goes, you control where the rest of their body goes. So you want it high and tight above the ears. You want to be able to get your fingers under there, but not a whole lot. When you're starting, it can be easier for the dog to understand. Here, Tater. Understand the prong collar if it's a little tighter. But remember, this is a walking tool. This isn't a tool to lounge around in. It's a training tool. If you're not doing any of those things, your dog shouldn't be wearing it. Your dog shouldn't wear it in the crate. Thank you for being a good model. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. I will link all sorts of prong collars down below. Again, I only use the Herm Sprenger prong collars and the Kimberland micro prongs because of their rounded prongs and because of their smooth martingale action that makes for really effective training. Also, huge fan of Katie's buckles. I'll link them below as well. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your dogs.